Hello, Roy. How are you?
What's going on, man?
Good, man.
Sit
Have
down,
a
pal.
seat. They just tranquilized him. He just wakes up in space in a Tesla.
And he's cold. It's
Yeah.
like, what the fuck? Are you a comic book movie fan? We're just talking about the new Venom. Do you give a shit about comic book movies?
Yeah, I'm like that. You know, the old Spider-Man. Like, oh my god, he doesn't have web shooters. Like, you know.
Oh, you geek out over the.
You could care less. I
But I
just
know
can't.
exactly what you're talking about.
I can't get into it though. Like I want to care about it because it's one of those things where it's like it's.
I can't. The whole fantasy genre is silly to me. Like I'm like, this isn't real life. No.
Then you'd like my wife. My wife hates a sci-fi or fantasy genre unless there's a love story.
Well, yeah. There's a love story.
Then
but,
anything
like,
can happen.
Of
Anything
course.
can happen.
Of course.
I think they put them in. Yeah, I think they put them in sometimes because they want a couple to go. We're talking about
Oh, yeah.
Marvel films. I just don't give a shit about them. I think they want a couple to go with them, and they have to put some kind of an angle in there to make it interesting. I think so. It's not just a guy's movie.
Yeah.
True, but I mean, they're a lot better than what they used to be. I mean, I just had my little kid watch Superman the first time. He's like, dude, I love that one. Dude, Superman's lifting up the car.
The first Superman,
Very
like
first one,
like
like
with
80,
the-
like 82 or whatever,
Wow.
it was, 81.
Yeah,
And
that's
your kid
before.
liked
loved
it?
it. He loved it.
That's amazing.
That was
like,
the '70s. I think it was. I want to say it was like '79 or '80. The first Superman with Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder.
The
Yeah.
very first one.
Yeah, I think it was '79.
They think that you need to like CGI everything and make it. Wow, this generation just doesn't take it seriously. But if you show a little kid like movies from the '80s, they're like, yeah, it's fucking awesome.
I just showed my kids The Golden Child the other day.
The Eddie Murphy movie.
Mildly more aggressive than I remembered it being. Mildly more. So I get Parent of the Week for that one for sure.
Is that one of those things where you watch it like 15 years later, 20 years later, you're like, yeah, this was kind of fun, and then you're like, oh my god, this is not for a child to
Dude,
watch.
100%. Like in the middle, I was like, because I kept waiting for like the really dope parts to pull up, like the little when you eat the leaf and all that stuff, and like the I want the knife and all that, and it was like blood porridge and like death and murder and mayhem and 666, and I was like, yeah, sorry kids, let's change that.
I don't remember the movie, but I
Let's
guess
turn
you're
on
right.
Gladiator instead.
Yeah. Well, they also like. I mean, movies now, like they used to get away with so much more in terms of like just violence and things like that in film.
Well, hell, think about it now. Like, remember Richard Pryor, like the toy. The toy is no
Right.
way in hell the toy would fly nowadays.
Right.
There's
No.
no chance.
No, it wasn't even that great a movie. I mean, you have Gleason and Pryor, two of the funniest people ever, and the movie was not.
Just it didn't cut it, but it was still like and it pushed the envelope so hard. Remember, and then what was the one with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor?
Hear No
There
Evil.
was,
Hear No Evil.
yeah, there was that one. There was Stir Crazy.
Yo, I totally interrupted you.
That's
How
okay.
about I want to talk to you for a long time. I thought that y'all's interview with Artie Lang was absolutely spectacular. The most recent one I don't know if it was most recent. The one we y'all talking about is addictions.
Was that when he had his shirt off? There was one point where
Yeah.
Artie took his shirt off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. I thought the insight that y'all were providing in there, and like when you got sober, how you did it, why you did it, because you got sober young.
Very, very young. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a real trip to hear that, like the insight that you guys both had, and talk about like the darkness that is stand up comedy, right? But also like the intellect. Well, you guys didn't really necessarily touch on that, but like the intellect that you have to find the idiosyncrasies and the ironies of everyday life that nobody really picks up on, that you guys can like trigger on and make jokes about, to kind of point out. And that's the point of stand up, isn't it? Like to point out the oddities that go on in life.
I think you try. Yeah, you want to. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
A lot of times I try to point something out, and people are just like, "Oh, shut up." And there's other times where you're not trying to point something out, and people laugh. I guess it depends on what you're trying to do in a moment.
Well,
So-
it's always the worst, like in stand up, when people try to point something out, but they do it literally. Like you've not succeeded. You're supposed to like through a joke be able to make people like
The
change
revelation
how they.
come.
But when you're going like, so what I'm saying is, and you have to like break it down, it's like, ugh.
yeah,
Just shut
If
up.
you have to explain it. We got it, stupid. But
Be quiet.
are you guys now? You guys are fighting. When do you fight? By the way,
This Friday.
this Friday night,
Yeah, the
and
16th.
that's right. It's in Mohegan Sun.
Yep.
Wigan, yeah.
Up in Connecticut, and you're going out. And I've interviewed fighters that are doing press together before. Or do you guys have an issue with it? Is it weird when knowing that you have to fight, or are you guys friendly off when you're not fighting?
No, we're good.
You are good.
Yeah, we got no trouble. We're cool. We text and talk to each other on a regular basis.
Even
Do
while
you
you're
really?
training to fight each other, like
What's
you're
that?
still. So while you're training to fight each other, you're still texting and maintaining.
No, we didn't. If there was any reason for us, I'm sure we would. But
Right.
Oh,
I got you.
you're joking. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were serious. I just wonder what the psychology.
We trained last week together.
totally normal.
But it's when guys do press together. I'm always wondering if it gets tense like the week of the fight, or if it's just it doesn't matter.
It does sometimes, but not like in this type of situation, but like if I didn't like Matt and Matt didn't like me, then we had some problems. Then definitely some tenseness, but usually it doesn't really happen that much in our sport unless you really didn't like it.
Most of the time, people in our sport are pretty cool. Like if you're a dick, you're a dick, and it's just gonna come out in the wash, or it's already been there.
And whether you're fighting or not, you're a dick. So it's
Yeah. So,
that's how
whatever.
you're,
But
yeah.
most of us are pretty cool, anyways.
Well, you remember Jones and Cormier couldn't be in the room together. Like that got ugly where they were talking to each other. And I don't know how much pre-planned that was. If it was just Jones just promoting, but they were just talking to each other off air on mic, and it got picked up. And those guys I would not want to interview in the same room because what do you do if two heavyweights or two light heavyweights are going at it in the room?
And and John's such a casual smartass. He's going to say something just to get under the skin and just irritate for sure.
But
that'd
there's
be a
not
hell of a
that-
thing to sit back and watch.
Oh, I believe you. I wouldn't interfere. If you guys start going at it, you're fucking until one of you is dead. I'm not jumping in.
When I was out in Florida, we had Tyrone Spong, who's one of the best kickboxers in the world, and Alistair Overeem were in the same camp, and they would spar each other, and they would spar each other when nobody else was around in the gym, and like all of us would just like sit around the corner, like just watch, like peeking around the corner to see how they were getting down. I mean, it was incredible. To
Why
watch
would they
those
do it when
two.
there was no one around?
Because they knew it was going to draw a massive crowd. And really, Tyrone Spong was just a beast at that moment. So he was putting the screws on him.
Did you see him get knocked out by Ngannou? That's one of the worst knockouts I've ever seen. When he literally went stiff before. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go stiff before they hit the ground. Did you see him get knocked out?
I think the whole world. I think people don't even have internet probably either heard it or felt it.
I've done that reference on stage a couple of times, and half the audience laughs. Half the audience will laugh at an Overeem Ngannou reference, which is pretty shocking that anybody gets it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, but more people than you'd expect.
That's great.
Get it. And you both played team sports too. You played rugby and you played obviously professional football. What made you get out of football?
Well, football got done with me. Football got done with me in week 6 of 2005. And then my son was born that following week. So then I told Mike Tice, who was the head coach of the Vikings.
Terrible timing.
It was terrible. Not good at all. I told Tice, like, look, if y'all don't bring me back for at least 2 weeks during the active season, I'm out. I'm going to retire because I can't have somebody else control my paycheck with a kid. So they didn't. And then, it's a pipe dream, right? Like what they'll do, and it's what they do with everybody, is that if you're not vested, as soon as the season's over, they're like, hey, man, we're going to sign you. We tried to sign you a couple times. We just couldn't do it. So they'll want you to sign you as soon as the season's over. So that way you're on for another 8 months, 9 months in hopes that you're going to make the team again.
Right.
So you can it's a perpetual pipe dream. So if you don't ever give yourself a stop line, you'll never come to it unless you get forced into it.
Well, how are you going to make money after that? Like, if you think, okay, I might get re-signed. Hey, look, just let me know. What were you doing for a living after that?
Well, I started. I had to go to corporate America. Like I took a job designing and selling employee benefit packages for corporations, and that's kind of what I had to do because I didn't know where my life was going to go, and I didn't have many transferable skills.
Do you get depressed like when you're sitting there, like you're just in an office, you're in a cubicle or whatever, and you're just thinking about like I used to play in front of like a stadium full of people, and this is what I did.
Actually,
now how
no.
could I be here?
The anonymity never bothered me at all. Like the spot of like schlepping things that nobody cares about and trading pennies and driving 4,000 miles a month of windshield time. It's just like that shit hurt my soul, and like seeing my body go from something of a trained body to just a donut chewing on tub of goo who drops off donuts and coffee, it just, that really hurt my feelings. And my feelings. Oh, I'm such a millennial. And like, so that really,
that really triggered me.
for sure. And that's what kind of got me in the gig. But also, I started a sports nutrition company up when I got done with the NFL because I didn't know what to take. I didn't know what I would get popped for, what sugars are better for you versus this and that. And so I started doing my own research, and I was like, you know what? I don't see anything else on the market that has what I'm looking for. So I made my own product, and then we were in 21 Division I universities on a trial basis, and that's what got me into MMA. And that's the only reason why I went on The Ultimate Fighter was just to propagate my company, just to do product placement on the TV show, so that afterwards I could have some exposure that would cost me gazillions of dollars to get. And that's the reason why I went on The Ultimate Fighter. I never wanted to be a fighter. And then I fought Marcus, and then I fought Kimbo, and then everything changed.
And how about you? What did you do, Roy, before you fought? I mean, besides playing, I knew you played rugby.
Yeah, I did that professionally.
You did. No. Oh, do they have professional rugby? I guess they do, right?
They do. If you go down, in Australia. No, for me, rugby was a place to give me a good fashion where I could drink right after practice.
Oh, okay. Do you like to tip a few back there? Do you miss team sport at all or no?
The one thing, the reason why I had always had a problem with team sports, like I was really good with baseball. Like I could have probably played professional baseball, and just politics. I'm one of those guys that just really sucks with politics.
You mean the politics of like any group?
Politics isn't like the coach's son has to get started or the alumni some dad paid a couple more bucks than the other father, so he gets to start first, or like I'm all about winning.
Did you run into that at all though?
All the time. That's the reason why I switched from team sports to an individual sport.
Yeah, we were just talking before like this morning, totally different. But we're talking about the Sex and the City fucking thing, and like how Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker hate each other. And it just came out on Instagram. It just really, really.
Who was your guys' favorite on Sex
I'll
and the City?
give too.
Actually, I was really surprised that Kim Cattrall did that, and that really it just threw her. She threw herself under the bus. Like all Sarah Jessica Parker looks like the great chick now. Like all she was trying to do was look into a friend and blah 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 and be the bigger person. And then Kim Cattrall does that. Like,
have you ever
come
been?
on, man.
And that was the question we were asking each other. Have you ever been that mad at somebody that like a family member of yours could die?
And you still get salt.
A person reaches out to you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the salt. A person reaches out to you and goes like, "Oh, my condolences," and you're still like, "No, man, fuck you."
I can't imagine that.
Have you been that mad at anybody?
Misdirected rage, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. There must have been some real sideways shit on that cast.
Yes, and that's that behind the scenes kind of politicking or little groups get formed, and then all of a sudden everybody hates each other's guts. So I guess that's what the problem with you and doing the team sport is.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. Like someone got pissed off really bad. Like, I mean, if you hold that type of grudge, afterwards, it's like you killed my family or you ate my first young.
Were you a guy who would fight a lot as a person when you weren't not professionally, but were you a guy who would throw down quickly in real life?
No, I would.
You seem very even tempered.
No, I'm the first guy for verbal combat. Like I'm the first one to try to talk out of a fight. Like the very first thing, like if someone ever tries to approach you for a fight, I'm like, "Oh, really? How much money do you have?" And then if that doesn't stop the fight there, then you put the mouthpiece in. You're like, "Okay." And, like you just keep on like any way to egg it from not going into the fight versus where everybody else is so hot.
Oh, you'll try to bet the money on the fight?
That I do
Yeah,
the same
like-
thing actually. That's funny.
That's gotta suck if you're gonna fight somebody and they're like, all right, let's gamble on this. You're like,
Like, well, no, like, hey, how much money you got in your pocket? Like, well, I fight for more than that. So go ask your friends if you come up with 20 G's in the next hour. Let's talk.
and is your
Other
fear
than that, we're not fighting.
Yeah, like it's not worth my time. I get paid a lot more than that.
is that what your fear is? Like that something's gonna happen and you're just gonna wind up in court? If you fight some guy in the subway, you're gonna wind up getting sued for it.
I go, I'm going to kill somebody.
Oh, you worry more about that.
For sure. Yeah, if you dot somebody up and they drop to the ground, right, and their head hits the ground and they die or have seizures or whatever else.
If I was sitting next to a guy that I was going to fight later in the week, I would hate for that to be his response.
Yeah, you don't want somebody trying to offer you like let's do this for money as opposed to free. You never want someone to pull a mouthpiece out in public. That's always a sign that they're comfortable fucking fish fighting. If you're on the train, someone throws a mouthpiece in.
You like dogs. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no, like for myself, the only time I've ever actually gotten in fights was either when I was bullied or the second time, literally for the only time I'd ever fight myself or fight anybody is playing sports. Like if I was playing basketball, someone undercut me, I'd be the first one to be like, dude, you can take my legs out, or playing football, someone speared you in the knee or something stupid. But those are the only times that I'd actually get mad where I'm like, I'll fight you.
Did you get bullied when you were a kid?
All the time.
You did. So many fighters have. It's either a big brother or somebody. But who bullied you?
Just like I was always the kid that just played sports, and then just the older kids always just picked on you.
What was their thing? Because you're a big guy, and you're known to not be in what would be considered stereotypical fighter shape, and you're black belt in jiu-jitsu, and you're a tremendous athlete. So was it that, or was it like your personality? 'cause
No,
you're quiet?
I think all the way up to like probably junior high, and then from high school, then it switched over because then I just started playing sports in high school. When you're on the varsity team, then everybody just stays away from you when you're the cool jock.
How'd you
Right.
handle being bullied?
Oh, just easy. I mean, and just walked away. Like I was never the person that kind of confronted you, unless I had to.
So do you see those guys now in later life? It's amazing, like people who fucked with you when you were a kid or who didn't treat you properly, and then they don't think you remember them, but you remember them.
I really don't remember them because it's looking in the past. I'm always going forward.
You are. You know? Are you okay? I'm a person in a relationship where I harp on an argument and I can't let it go, and I'm a resentful, miserable guy. If you fight with your wife, can you let it go and like even if she's wrong, all right, fuck it, and move forward and not obsess?
Depends on what she's wrong about. If she's really wrong about something, then it's something that's going to mess up the relationship for the future. Because it's kind of like like when you, your kid, or anytime you're learning something, as long as it's something that you can move forward with, like it has to be fixed. If not, it's always going to be the problem in the future. Like it's one of those situations. Like let's fix it, or don't ever bring it up again.
Yeah, I saw something with you where you were talking about your wife and how she likes you. She actually wants you to have the mullet.
Yeah, no, she loves the hair. Like at first we started as a joke, and then, but she loves the hair because she doesn't have any hair, is what she says.
So she wants you to have all of it? That's fine.
Somebody in the relationship's got to.
Yeah, but it's just interesting
Pants, mullet, one of the two.
what a woman can get you to do. Like that's kind of amazing. Like if a woman likes something, you keep it. That's just kind of.
Although I mean, if I had like a sweet mullet, and I had the support of a woman saying, yeah, you should keep it, like I'd be on cloud 9 because it's cool to have a mullet, and then to have a girl to be like, yeah, no, that is cool because it's cool for you to have a mullet. But generally, there's not people around you being like, yeah, that's a good look. When you got a girl who says it is a good look, you're golden.
Yeah, that's probably not something a lot of women have said. It works for you. It's your look. I mean, of course, but I'm just in general. Not a lot of women have said keep it.
There was a lot of people that in the 80s used to say it all the time. That's a nice looking mullet.
Yeah,
He's right. He's right.
It's all about your flavor.
Speaking of the past, Jim actually has a game that he likes to play with the guests, and I thought actually, Jim,
we played it with the list. We
no,
haven't
this
played
is
with
more
guests
like
yet.
your game.
Yeah.
But
It's my game. It was to. We wanted to know because we're all big Donnie and Marie fans, as most people are, and we've been asking people if they are more country or more rock and roll. So I would like your answer.
Actually, do you want? We should. I mean, the game.
Oh, you want to play it?
We
Sure.
should do a formal playing of the game, right?
I don't know. You figured it would have been queued up. We're still sitting through the ad. Okay.
Yeah, we should. We just. To bring you guys up to speed.
Yeah, just to bring you up to speed.
We'll play the options
Sure.
first, right?
Okay.
That's generally how
Fair
it
enough.
works. Yeah.
Should I play the song?
Wait, of course, that's where the options are.
Okay.
Just the first two.
I mean, you know how to play the game, Troy.
I know.
I probably could have queued this up.
So nice though.
That's nice.
Okay. Now, who would like to play first?
Roy, I think you're the obvious answer, so let's go with that one.
Roy, would you like? Okay. Which one are you?
You know what?
I know it's a tough one. That's why we like to play the game.
It's definitely a tough one. Let's go. What year is it? 76. Ooh, then I'm gonna go rock and roll.
Fun.
Okay, all right.
I mean, he goes so hard on that rock and roll.
Right. He really does.
That's a gut felt.
I really looked up to him when I was a kid. I'm 49, so I was fucking 8 years old when the show came out. I thought he was amazing. I thought it was cool. But in hindsight, I feel differently.
But let's not go way off the rails here. We're
Yeah.
in the middle of the game.
We sure are.
Right.
You
Yeah.
have to choose.
Solid point.
Matt,
Well, I mean, with big
do you
country.
want to have the options presented to you again?
I think I need it.
Yeah, what are the
we'll
options?
do-
Let's give
we'll
them
do the
both.
options.
You're right, both
we'll
options.
do the options again. Okay, all right. So you have the options.
I mean, that's inspiring. That's an inspiring rock and roll. But I got to tell you, I think I'm probably country because this is my daily garb right here.
Look at that belt buckle.
There we go.
Troy,
Let's see if we can get this right here. This is
there
my
it
thing.
is.
That's
This
a
is my-
giant belt buckle.
Now you want to know something about this belt buckle?
I do.
Sure.
Jeremy Shockey and I bought these, but we each bought our own belt buckles, not matching.
Sure.
When we were rookies, and so I've had this belt buckle since 2002.
And you guys
Wow.
were teammates.
And with the Giants.
Yeah.
So I got this when I was with the Giants 2002, and I've worn it almost every day of my life.
Does it
Since.
does it bring back anything at this point, or it's just your belt?
It's just my belt. It's just what it's my belt buckle.
You don't feel
I
anything.
didn't even own a wedding ring when I got married, yet I still have this belt buckle.
Why did you not have money for a ring?
No, I had money for it. I just I'm not a jewelry guy. I don't like it at all. And
Unless
I mean,
it's a big shiny belt buckle.
right, obviously, because that's got hold of my pants up.
Right.
But like as far as having like jewelry and with a ring, if you're like I cheated on my ex-wife, and I'm a straight douchebag for doing it, and it's one of the I'm actually extremely open about it because I have so many people that come up to me and be like, hey man, like I talk about having like I cheated on her, and they'll be like, oh, I'm thinking about doing this, I got this girl on the side and blah blah, and my response is, do it. If you want my opinion, don't do it, because you're gonna feel like a douchebag when you do it. You're gonna have two separate lives, and a lot of people think like, look, I'm gonna get half the arguments and twice the pussy. And that's true for about the first month, and then all of a sudden it's flip flops, and you get half the pussy and twice the arguments, and it's so much stress, and it's not worth it. So like, so my point before I got off on that bit there is that it's. If you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat whether you have a ring on or not. So I never really felt like having a ring was that relevant, because if I'm committed to my wife, I was going to be good to her. I just wasn't ready to be married, and I just made some bad decisions.
What were you doing for work? Were you fighting, or were you still playing football?
I was at the tail end. I was in that transition part of my life. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons why our marriage didn't work, is because I was transitioning and from a couple different things. She was saying the same. And I think that I didn't accept I don't think I was mature enough to understand like what she was going through at the time. By like having like when I went on The Ultimate Fighter, my second son was just born. He was 2 months old. My oldest son was 3.5 years old, and she was left there all alone, like taking care of him. And then all of a sudden, I get off The Ultimate Fighter, and then like when you got the show, like you might have been this way too. Like it's kind of like a weird transition, because like there's no media of any form. Like we had a 45-minute drive each way to and from practice. So and you practice twice a day. So you're in the car for 3 hours a day with no radio, no news, no TV, no magazines, no books, no nothing. So it's like a real unique environment. It's like it's a living embodiment of Lord of the Flies.
Can you keep your phones or no?
No, nothing.
Oh, no phones.
No media of any form.
Oh, whoa.
So
No outside world.
Yeah,
Nothing.
So like when I got off, my first questions are, what's the stock market, and are we at war? Like those are my two questions. And like, so it was a weird transition for a little bit. So she's like at home waiting for me to get home to kind of relieve some of the stress. And I get home and I'm this weird tripped out cat for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden I fight Marcus and I fight Kimbo, and everything changed. And then like when I say everything changed, like when you beat him, like all of a sudden I was in parties in LA where celebrities knew my name and were talking about my fights. Like that was weird. And I just didn't handle that transition very well. And I found a girl with a big butt down in Florida.
How did you get caught? That's what I'm
I
fascinated
was going to
with.
say
How
it
did
is
you get
interesting because Jim has also ended relationships because his partners decided to transition. So.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
That's why I started them.
Right.
But I've been an abominable boyfriend.
Yeah,
At times. I'm an abomination of a boyfriend, and I've gotten caught cheating. How did you get caught?
She actually heard me, but our no, like on the phone, like yeah.
That would be.
I was about to give you a standing ovation.
It was a situation in which that we had a huge fight. She's Asian, has a hell of a temper and hell of a mouth on her, and she said some things that I was like, you know what, I don't want to be married to that anymore. I want to be out. And this is before even ever cheated on her, ever.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to be done with this. I don't want to be involved in this. I'm not going to have it going for the rest of my life. And so I told her I wanted a divorce. And then 3 weeks later, I happened to be out in Vegas at an expo. I just beat Kimbo. And I met a girl with a big butt and a smile, and then I carried that thing on for 4 years. I let a one-night stand carry on for an entire 2
you
months.
had like a whole double
Relationship.
life.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you're supposed to never trust a big butt and a smile.
Never.
The girl is
Words
poison.
of wisdom. She's poison.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
So you had a 4-year double life, and
Yeah.
one knew
So-
about the other.
No.
The mistress didn't know about the wife?
The mistress knew. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The girlfriend knew about the wife, and I was like, I'm going through a divorce and blah blah blah.
Right,
and
right.
And it just, I dragged my feet. I really pissed up a rope. I did a horrible job managing my life at that time. Horrible. And that was at like 2010, 2011 ish. Probably 10. And then I went all the way until like 2014. And I went like back and forth because I was afraid. I have 3 kids. So I was afraid I was going to lose my kids. And then like I would go one way and then I would go the other, and I would flip flop back and forth. I made a terrible series of decisions.
And I wanted to, and Roy and Matt are fighting this Friday night at Mohegan Sun. By the way, we want to.
And one of the reasons why that fight is such a big deal is because we're finally going to see inside of a cage the battle of country versus rock and roll. That's right. I mean, that's what people have been waiting for that for a long time.
For a long time.
Yeah.
And Donnie sounded committed, but I think Marie really kind of sold it.
Yeah, you're representing Marie in this one.
even the
See the flip flop? I was a misogynist before, and now
Right.
I'm total feminist.
You're
now.
Marie Osmond
That's
now.
right. I'm
Yeah.
fighting for her rights.
and the bit does stink, and we know it stinks.
That's not true.
But yet, there was a part of me, even I was actually giving it up. I was like, you know what? She really has a great voice. All kidding aside, Marie could fucking sing. So, okay, so you got busted. What was the moment you got busted? Like the moment, I remember the moment I got caught, and it's like, how did you know? Oh, God, it's done.
it lingered for so long. There was never a point like that. But like she came in and she's like, because she had left, and then I called up because she had left a couple messages during the night. So I called her in the morning, and apparently she had come back in the house and been like, "Hey, I heard what I heard you on the telephone. Who are you talking to?" And so that was a rough one. And but that's like the beginning of like the complete douchebaggery of like the feeling of like Jesus, like she was at home with my kids and I totally did this thing and I was such a douche, like, and I felt that way, like it's one of the very few times in my life I ever felt like true remorse and guilt, like damn it, I really screwed this thing up.
Yeah, it's kind of hard when you realize your shitty actions made somebody else's life miserable.
But that sucks. But we're really good friends now, and we co-parent very well. I even tweet about it. Like we go to dinners together. We try to do stuff together. And she's when she's scoring, she's a nasty mamma jamma. But if she tries only to do the best for the kids, which I completely respect and understand. And if in hindsight, I would completely change my actions and I wouldn't let that happen.
You wouldn't do it, yeah.
Not at all. I learned a tremendous amount from that.
How did you meet your wife?
Me, I met her in a weird situation because in Vegas, it's Sin City. I met her at a club.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
So a nightclub, a dance club?
No, at another entertainment establishment.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Now, are you comfortable? Are you confident, like approaching someone like that, like a woman in a situation, or they have to approach you?
With this situation, like we're totally not club people. Like we don't go out. Like I just happened to just kind of because we were both working, and we just became friends. And
You were a bouncer, or
yeah, host.
Oh. Did you wear a suit?
I did wear a suit.
You threw people out?
I didn't throw anybody out.
Oh, you never had to throw anybody out?
No, because I was the nice guy.
Oh, okay. So you would just get the people.
The verbal combat, but everybody else that's usually a bouncer or a host, they're the ones that make sure you hit the door on the way out.
Okay.
I was the guy going, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure?"
Trying to talk them out of it.
Right, or if you're the guy that had a lot of money, then I'd be like, "Hey, how much money? You can be a complete asshole. Let me just see how much money you have.
If you have enough to make it worth it, you can stay."
Then we can work it. It prepared me for the UFC.
Were you already taking jiu-jitsu by this point? You were already training?
That's actually how I got it. How I got the job is just because I was good at jiu-jitsu.
Oh, so they figured you can handle the situation.
Exactly.
So you met your wife through that, and I guess she liked you. You were kind of protective, and you became friends, and then you dated.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, you're a." She was totally thrown off when I was I was like, "Yeah, I train people." She thought I was a personal trainer, like a CrossFit type of guy, and I'm like, "Do I look like that guy?" And she's like, "No," and I'm like, "Well, it didn't make any sense," but I was like, "No, I train jiu-jitsu," and then that's how we kind of like hit it off, and then just totally, two different opposite sides of the tracks, and then we've been together for 13 years now.
Okay, yeah, you seem like you're kind of a committed guy. I've seen you in interviews and stuff. You seem fairly committed, and it's just interesting looking at the difference in what is how you guys.
I think the difference is since you're born in Vegas, kind of see everything.
Oh, you were raised there. That's right.
I'm born and raised, so like you kind of get all that out of your system by the time you're 21. Once you turn 21, you can do everything. You're like, yeah, been there, done that.
Could you see the casinos from where you were as a kid?
Dude, I think the first time I ever gambled, I think it was 15 and a half.
All right, yeah. So
yeah. So it's like you kind of like already like, and it's just like if you're a Midwest guy, you start drinking when you're 14.
right?
Because you're like, I ain't got nothing
Driving
else.
cars on the back roads
either,
and stuff.
Yeah.
You're either drinking, having sex, like those are your like the cool things to do while you're and then Vegas, you're pretty much doing everything else.
So it's a weird, cause I can't picture living in Vegas. It's just such a vacation spot or such a place to go and work and get out of and misbehave. Like I can't picture living there and having a real life and then not considering the casinos or what's on the strip.
Yeah, no. Vegas is definitely, it's like, I think there's the straight line of the tracks where you kind of know what's left, what's right, which way you're going to kind of go on. And then I played right on the tracks versus jumping to one side or the other.
Okay, let me ask you this. Now, the first time you were with a woman, was it a girl you met or was it a girl that you were able to go to the strip and see?
What do you mean?
Well, there's an availability there in Vegas. There's girls, working girls, which I've certainly partaken in when I was in Vegas. So, like when you're a young man, you're
Or
saying
any state.
That is true. There's no state I haven't. But like when you're 17, 18 years old and you want to meet a girl and you want to get laid for the first time, whatever it is, do you meet a girl in high school or do you go to the strip?
And you go the old-fashioned way. You just, you met her at school.
You go online, baby. You go to Tinder and you swap right, baby.
But now it's so much easier now.
So much easier.
It's so much easier now. People can just swipe and talk and get to know each other.
It's
and
called
then,
power swiping.
yeah, I've done a lot of it.
I wonder if technology is going to absolutely slaughter marriage. I wonder if it's just going to be like it's an institution of the past, and now with technology, everybody's just relationships of convenience.
You know what it is? It makes you realize how many other people are out. I think two things. People talk to people when they probably wouldn't have before because you could just do it on your phone without moving. But I also think people go through whole relationships and wind up never fucking. Like I've gone through entire relationships on text, like I love you, baby, blah, 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 and then you just never talk again, and you've never met.
And you never would have met her if it wasn't for technology.
You
right?
wouldn't.
Like she
have,
lives in Russia or something, and you're like, well, what the hell?
Yeah, it's somebody that you're never going to meet physically, but you go through a whole emotional relationship, but then it peters out. So
Why do you stop talking? You just kind of
You get bored of each other.
Yeah.
You hit you get the dopamine drips, and you're like enough, and you don't give a shit.
So you know what the interesting thing is that back in the day, right? Like you'd know, like every girl in your town and the girls in surrounding towns, and now like you've absolutely progressed. So now like that's why I think like traditional relationships now are almost dead because everybody can go online and see a girl that's 17 times hotter than the girl you just met in real life, and then that's going like so the candy jar is always going to be more full than what you're eating out of now. It's always going to be so. There's no way for the integrity of an honest relationship or committed relationship is going to be compromised all the time going forward.
And it's so much easier to get caught. So much easier because we don't know where this stuff goes. Like, you know what I mean? Like the iCloud, I won't go near iCloud. I just won't do it because it's a way to get caught.
So I was doing this podcast the other day, and this point came up that every president from now on, from going forwards, is going to have a dick pic out. Like you're going to see every president's cock going forwards. Because there's no way that somebody in this day and age doesn't have a dick pic out.
Do you know, I've asked on stage, because I've certainly sent a whole bunch, and I've asked on stage, like, has anybody in the audience, and I know some people are lying, but there are really people who don't do it. I can't get over that they haven't done it, but there are people that have not used that technology for devious reasons.
No, I think it's kind of like are you the criminal mastermind or are you just the criminal that's the henchman that does all the work? So the criminal mastermind will never have a dick pic.
Right, because they know.
He'll be like, no, put your dick on there.
Right.
Just
Go
send
ahead
it
and
to
do
her.
that.
So send me yours. I'll send it to
And you know, I saw something the other day. I can't remember where it was, but it said that if you ever send your dick pic out, watermark it with the person's name who you're sending it out so you know who put your dick pic out.
That's
I was like, that is such a slick move. Like,
I know,
that's a
but I don't have that many hours to watermark different photos. But that's actually a really good move to send a little watermark. But I don't put my face in it.
Right.
I just wouldn't put my face in it. I wouldn't care if it got out anyway. Who cares? It's not. It's a dick. No one gives a shit. But I don't do a full body.
Right.
You know, that's a rookie
Make them
mistake.
guess who it is. Make them guess.
Yeah.
But that tattoo.
Leave something to the imagination.
Yeah, the tattoo. There's always some dead giveaway. Or if you're a politician, they're almost afraid to lie too much because they know that that's the ruiner. It's not the crime, it's the cover up.
What was it? Was it Johnny Danger? What was his name?
Carlos Danger, Anthony Weiner.
Carlos Danger.
Yeah.
What a fucking awesome name.
It really was a good name, and the creepiest dick photos.
Oh my
smiling
God.
with his chest out in the congressional mirrors in the gym.
To
It's
a
like, what are you
14-year-old.
doing?
Dude,
Like, oh, you
not
can't
only do you have your face in the dick pic, you have your face and your kid's face
Yeah.
in your dick pic.
Oh, that was when he was
What
in
are you
underwear. He was wearing
doing?
underwear, and he had the kid on the.
What are you doing?
It was just bad
That's a
timing.
rough go, dude.
What was bad time?
Meaning to take the photo with the kid that was just.
I mean, I think there's more to. I think
Is he going to jail?
Yeah.
He's
He
in
is.
jail, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's in jail.
I think he's in jail.
How much time did he get? For talking to the
It was
15-year-old
like
girl.
23 months or something,
I
wasn't
think
it?
something like that.
Yeah, a little bit less than 10 years.
He
2
was going to
years.
be mayor of New York. People loved
He was.
him.
They were talking about him being the
He'll still be
president.
that guy.
Even after he got busted, Anthony Weir gets busted, he comes back, and then people are like, you know what? We like this guy. He was an advocate for the people. Would have forgiven him.
But he's got
for
to
the
keep texting.
He couldn't stop.
Couldn't stop, buddy.
Couldn't stop.
Hey, man, that
And you
good
know-
good's a drug, buddy.
It really, dude, the way I can think of it, it's like having menthol injected into your head and your upper chest. It's this weird constant drip every time the phone rings and you get it and you look and it's another dirty message.
And he's going to get out of jail. He's going to be like, I'm reformed.
Come right back,
He's going to
brother.
go right back into public life. He's going to run for office again. And in the middle of him running for office, more dick pics. He's going to keep going.
Like his third chance. Just straight.
Like, what are you doing?
It's a tough go. Dude, the American political situation right now is got to be the most fascinating it's ever been in recorded history.
It's incredible.
I mean, it's every day there's something crazy, red, blue, left, right, center, ultra hard, one way or the other. Just the madness that's going on. It's crazy.
Because everybody can weigh in immediately now, and we're just not handling it well.
No.
Like, you know, everyone can just say whatever they think in that second, and we all have to hear it. And no one has, there's no button where you go like, all right, I'll say this in 10 minutes.
And you want to talk about a dopamine drip. People get that dopamine drip to outrage, to rally
For
against
sure.
something.
Yeah.
And when they realize, like, okay, what's happening today? Oh, this person did this. Let's get everybody. Let's hashtag this. Let's get everybody in trouble. Like, okay, what's my cause tomorrow? What's my...
You know what's amazing is that, was it the guy? Yeah, like one of the presidents of Facebook, or like upper execs of Facebook, were like, dude, we knew that we were ruining the world when we started this. And like that we knew the repercussions and most likely what they were going to be. And it's kind of come to fruition from the entire thing. And they're absolutely right. There's no way the world could process without social information anymore. There's no way.
We'll eventually handle it, but I think our generation, I mean, is kind of like we're the first ones to remember life without, because you remember life without phones and without constant technology. We remember life before it, and we have it. Younger people, like, probably handle it better because they're used to just nothing but that.
Do you have kids?
I have no kids now.
Okay. Do you practice any form of restraint? Like at 10 o'clock at night, I put my phone down, I put it on Do Not Disturb, or I turn my phone off and you turn it on in the morning. Like, are you hands off technology at certain points during the day?
When they get bored and stop responding, it's time to go to bed. That's how I know it's time to go to bed.
How about yourself?
Not regularly. I mean, there will be moments that I go like, okay, or... You know, I'll forget. I've done things where I'll forget my phone at home and I'll realize in the driveway and I'll go, fuck it, and just keep driving. You know what I mean? So I'll do that, or like I'll take a moment and go like, let me put my phone away for a few hours, but not like a regular. Okay, 10 o'clock. That's my time to get rid of it.
With my kids, I try to do that. If I'm
How old
around
are
my
your kids?
12, 9, 7.
Does a 7-year-old have a phone?
No, none of my kids have a phone. I only have one television in my house, and there's no games.
No
at all.
iPads or anything?
Nothing.
Whoa.
Nothing.
But isn't the 12-year-old like? And I guess I don't know. I have an 11-month-old, so you know I don't know the world
Congratulations.
yet. Thanks, man.
They're cool,
but
man.
at 12, isn't he like getting to the place where like all of his friends have?
Yes.
And
he
that's
is.
got to be difficult.
Kind of, sort of, but he's a reader. He's a bookworm, man. Like he just like
That's
so,
awesome.
Like he'll sit, like if we're all sitting around at nighttime like watching TV together, he'll pull up a book and he'll sit in the room and just read a book while the TV's on.
That's like the best case scenario.
It's wild,
isn't it?
But I feel like we fight our asses off to not, like, my ex-wife only has one TV in the house. So like but my middle one, Jonah, when he's about to be 9, actually, he's got a little hustle. He'll run over to the neighbor's house and go play at the neighbor's, but he'll just play video games over there the whole time. So like we're hip to the game, but like, you know what? As long as you're around other kids.
So do you have to stay off your phone then, so they don't see you?
That's what I
as
do.
yeah.
That's my compromise with them. Sometimes like I do it, but like with work and with people coming in or with whatever else, I have to kind of respond to it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, no, I do my very
You're not
best.
just, like,
If I'm around
scrolling
them,
through.
get out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, and we also have to promote because we have to wrap in 5 minutes. We just chatting with you guys. The Bellator Heavyweight World Grand Prix Tournament. It's at Bellator 194, and it's this Friday 9 o'clock on Paramount Network. And the actual,
Which is it's the old Spike TV, right?
It's the old Spike
Oh,
TV.
Right.
no,
So
I
everybody,
didn't know
if
they
you
called it
think that you
Paramount.
don't have the Paramount Network, you probably do have the Paramount.
that is going to be this Friday at 9 o'clock, and it's live from the Mohegan Sun. Are there tickets available to go up and see it, or is it sold out, or you don't know?
It's sold out.
It should totally be sold out.
I imagine it would be, but if not, check it. Sometimes casinos hold tickets for high rollers, and they wind up selling them late. So you probably can get casino tickets.
For those of you guys that are in the fan base that are listening, that are worried about combat athletes taking steroids, Roy and I were both drug tested randomly. We fight in Connecticut. We had to fly to LA for a press conference for the first leg of the Grand Prix. We're randomly drug tested by the Athletic Commission of Connecticut, and despite both of our sexy physiques, we passed.
Wow,
did pass.
congrats.
Random drug test, we both passed.
Is that nerve
They
wracking
should
though?
have done the rest of the field though.
Everybody. They do the two safe bets. They're like, all right, look, let's these two chewed up bubblegum stacks and let them do what they do.
Well, you fought, and I think your last fight was Fedor, and you beat him in the first round. It was a TKO or a knockout.
Yeah.
With fighting him, the legendary name that comes with that, was it what you thought it was going to be? I mean, he's a little older now too. He's been around for a while, or was it not what you thought he was going to be?
It was the media attention was substantial. You know what really sucked about fighting Fedor, like the lead up into it, and then I had the kidney stones and I had to lead up to it again, and then 'cause I was supposed to fight Fedor in February of 17. and I had a kidney stone that week of the fight, so I had to get canceled. And then we had to redo the whole thing over again, and I fought him finally in June. And then after I beat him, but the whole time in both lead ups and afterwards, I got so many death threats to my children, myself, that they're gonna rape my daughter, like all kinds
my God.
from all these Russians, and it was incessant, dude. It was so many. So like that was like I knew that that's like kind of like a different world, you know. And I would get like, hey, look, man, like man, you fuck, you beat like our, and it was like in their broken English of how they could possibly do it, and then they try to do it in English.
Yeah.
And it was like he's a complete national treasure to us. So fuck you and your entire family. We're gonna rape your daughter, like craziness. Like wow, that is a totally different. So that was my experience. Like it wasn't like oh my God, it's Fedor. It was like the fan base and the reaction to was just madness.
I wonder if Verdum got the same thing, or Dan Henderson, other guys that have beaten him. I wonder if they got the same.
Dude, Verdum had to get worse. I mean, he was the first person to do it.
That's right.
I mean, so that had to get bananas after that.
Well, he had one loss already, but I think it was like a disqualification or something. It wasn't. I don't think it was.
It was a doctor stoppage.
Fedor's first one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he didn't. No one in his eyes, he was still kind of like 30-1 or something. He was undefeated. Yeah. I guess Verdum got a whole bunch of hate. It's weird how people like two guys are fighting. What the fuck do you expect them to do? Not.
One of them's gonna win.
Yeah.
You know?
2-man enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he would gladly have knocked you out. I mean, what do they people
For sure.
expect you to do?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a trip, man. It was wild. It was really difficult because I'm very proud of my family. Like we have a good nuclear work.
Sure.
And like seeing stuff like that. At first, it really upset me, and then I was like, you know what, dude. Russia's gonna Russia, man. There's nothing you can do about it.
Does it bother you too? Because like we were talking before the show, even about people that will say things and they're anonymous. That's just annoying. But as guys who handle things differently, does it bother you with the stuff people say on social media?
No, like my very first like experience where someone fan base when they wanted to kill me was when I fought Kimbo.
Kimbo, yeah.
I got a fan base that like I kill you, you know, kill my family, the whole 9 yards, and then I'm going. But it was tape delayed by 6 months.
You still want to kill him? Like really?
like they thought it happened last week. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you." But the best thing about that is my urban demographic went way up.
It did, right? Because people who didn't know you wound up liking it.
It was Jailhouse Rules.
Well, you guys fought, by the way, and you won in I think the first round. Was the first round TKO?
It was.
And how does that make you feel fighting to somebody who's beaten you? Have you had rematches with guys who've beaten you before?
No, I've never had a rematch before. This will be my first one. But
me too.
yeah. Well, this is it's kind of unique because it was my sixth fight ever. Right now, this is me making excuses. It was my sixth fight ever. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But he beat me legitimately. First guy to ever knock me down. Hit me with a punch I didn't see, and he jumped on top of it and capitalized. So I feel that I've grown a lot. That was my sixth fight ever. I think it was his 24th or 25th. So there was a lot of education that I still had to get on the way up.
Right.
And then I think I've gotten that education. I think I've learned it. I think I've learned a lot about how I fight and my strengths and weaknesses are. I think I had the tools to win before. I think it was like impatience. I think I had a lot of things going on in my life. I let the cat out of the bag. It was like all that cheating, the divorce, all the madness. Had all that stuff going on in my life at the time. And I wasn't as focused as I should have been. I think my life's much, much cleaner now. And I've done a really good job as far as managing that. So I think it'll be a different result.
What's it like the first time you get knocked down?
I didn't see it coming. So I hit the ground. I was like, what the hell am I doing on the ground? Like, that's so odd. And all of a sudden he was on top of me. And then like, I didn't know how to handle that situation. I never practiced that situation. And I lost. And that was, kudos to Roy. He knew exactly what to do and how to capitalize on it.
How much does it suck?
That was perfect.
How much does it suck when you go, why am I on the floor? And then you look and you see him and you're like, oh, fuck. That's why. That explains it.
Oh, that's what happened.
So you don't actually know it in the moment until you're done.
Yeah. Like when I got hit with Fedor and we both dropped, like that's only, I think, the third time in my career I've ever been dropped. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, oh shit, well, I better knock him out now. Like if he hit me with something that dropped me and I didn't see it, I've already learned that experience once. I better capitalize on this one now.